Imagine a heavyweight MMA fighter weighing 220 pounds, encased in armor, fighting strictly by the textbook. Facing him is a wiry street fighter with a knife, 3 times faster and completely ignorant of the rules. Rome is 5 million square kilometers of order. The Mongols are 24 million square kilometers of pure expansion. The Romans built the world we live in. The Mongols destroyed 10% of the Earth's population to bind that world together. Who is tougher, the architect or the conqueror? Today, we are not just clashing a legion against a Tumen. We are comparing their engines. Tactics, the turtle versus the circle dance of mounted archers. Logistics, stone roads versus endurance horses. Psychology, a professional soldier fighting for a paycheck versus a nomad fighting for loot. Let's go.
Rome on the map is a predator, curled in a tight ring around a warm sea. 5 million square kilometers packed with people, grain, and legions. There is no emptiness here. Where yesterday there was a wild forest, today an aqueduct stretches out, and tomorrow a city will rise with bathhouses and taxes. This is a heavy, dense empire. It wins because it possesses an infinite warehouse of standardized spare parts, forged in state-owned factories. The Mongol Empire on the same map is a giant scar slashing the continent from the Yellow Sea to the Danube. 24 million square kilometers. That is 5 times larger than Rome. Here, the wind burns your eyes and the horizon never ends. If Roman territory is an overfilled warehouse, the Mongol steppe is the perfect track for a race of survival. There are no factories in the steppe. The Mongols have a different approach. They steal technology along with the heads of its inventors. Yesterday's Chinese engineer who built impregnable walls sits by a Mongol campfire in shackles today. He has no choice. Either he builds a siege machine for the Khan or he loses his life. The Mongols do not spend centuries on science. They simply take the best. Persian catapults, Chinese gunpowder, Arab medicine. Rome is a heavyweight boxer who has spent years building muscle in the gym. The Mongols are a gang of raiders who took a gun from a police officer and now dictate the rules. But weapons are just dead metal. Let's look at the men pulling the trigger.
A Roman camp. A legionary wakes up to the kick of a centurion's boot. He fears his commander more than the barbarians over the hill. The centurion carries a vetus, a vine staff. This is not a symbol of power, it is a tool of discipline. If a legionary hesitates in formation for half a second, the vine leaves a bloody trail on his back. Blood on a tunic is the ink with which Roman regulations are written. He is a contract soldier, selling his body to the state for 900 sestertii a year and a piece of land after 25 years. He is a brick in the wall. Remove one, and the wall still stands. He is trained to be reliable, predictable, and deadly. A Mongol campsite. The smell here is different. Horse sweat, sour milk, and smoke. A nuker sits by the fire with 9 brothers from his squad of 10. They eat from the same pot. But this is not just friendship. This is a lethal bond. One law hammers in their heads. If one runs, all die. If you flinch in battle and ride away, the 9 brothers with whom you shared meat for 10 winters will be executed in a horrific way. Their spines will be broken because of you. That is why Mongols attack in silence, no screaming, only the rumble of the earth from thousands of hooves and the whistle of bowstrings. The Roman fights to survive and get his pension. The Mongol fights because behind him lies a threat to his entire bloodline. One is used to waiting for orders, the other decides when to attack, but is bound to his comrades by the fear of collective execution.
High noon. A legion stands in the middle of the steppe. 5,000 men shoulder to shoulder, shields locked. The perfect machine for close quarters combat. They wait for the impact to grind the enemy into a meat grinder, but the enemy does not come. Instead, the ground vibrates and a swarm flies out from beyond the horizon. Thousands of riders flow around the formation and begin their deadly circle dance. Let's look at the stats. The Roman pilum has a range of 30 meters, if lucky. The Mongol composite bow covers the legion with a cloud of arrows from 300 meters, but real death comes closer. From 50 meters, a heavy Mongol arrow stitches through Roman chainmail like fabric. This is not a fight. It is an execution at a shooting range where the targets cannot even run to the shooter. The legion slowly bleeds out, never taking their swords out of their scabbards. Let's be honest, if a legion from the Golden Age met a Tumen in the open field in the year 1240, the Roman Empire would have ended in 3 weeks. Romans did not know how to fight those who refused to enter close combat. Crassus proved this, paying for the lesson with his head. But Rome is a brain. When the first legions perish, the rules are rewritten in headquarters. A different Rome enters the battlefield. Standing next to the infantry are now cataphracts, riders encased in armor from head to toe. The Romans buy allied cavalry from the Germans and Sarmatians, and when the Mongol lava flows forward again, a steel fist bursts from behind the infantry's back, crashing into the light steppe warriors like a locomotive into a herd of sheep. Rome did not get better. It bought those who could catch and crush the nomad.
Before a stone wall, a horse is useless. Here, it is the time of engineers. A Roman siege is methodical strangulation. The fortress of Masada, a rock 400 meters high. The Romans did not storm it. They built a mountain to reach it. For a year, they hauled earth under the scorching sun to raise a giant ramp to the level of the walls. The defenders watched as death slowly crawled toward them. A Roman could sit under the walls for years until the enemy ran out of water. This is a steamroller, slow but inevitable. The Mongols operated differently. Their siege is a storm. They drove thousands of prisoners under the walls of Baghdad, the Hashar, a living shield. They were driven forward, forced to fill the moats with their own bodies. And from behind, Chinese catapults hurled not just stones, they hurled pots of burning oil and the bodies of those who died from disease. The Mongols were the first to use biological weapons of mass destruction. They threw sickness over the walls, turning the city into a plague barrack. If the city did not surrender, they exterminated every living resident. A Roman siege says, "We are inevitable." A Mongol siege screams, "Open the gates now, or your city will become an example for the next 10.
An army marches on its stomach. A Roman legion is a crawling city with an endless baggage train, carts with grain, wine, blacksmith bellows. The legion is tied to the road like a tram to rails. Its speed is 25 kilometers a day, the speed of the slowest ox. Cut off their supply train. An army marches on its stomach. A Roman legion is a crawling city with an endless baggage train, carts with grain, wine, blacksmith bellows. The legion is tied to the road like a tram to rails. Its speed is 25 kilometers a day, the speed of the slowest ox. Cut off their supply train, and the army turns into a crowd of starving vagrants. Now, the Mongol camp. No carts, no kitchens. Each warrior has 3 or 4 spare horses. This is his transport and his food. On the march, a Mongol makes a cut on the horse's neck and drinks blood mixed with mare's milk. And instead of bread, he has borts. This is meat dried to a stone-like state and ground into powder. 1 handful into a pot of water, and hot broth for 10 warriors is ready. A Mongol tumen in forced march mode covers up to 70 kilometers a day. A Roman scout reports that the enemy is a week away, but in the morning he wakes up because a Mongol rider flies into his tent. The Mongols have nothing to burn in the rear. Their supply line is the grass under their hooves.
Conquering half the world is half the job. Rome is an empire of lawyers. Power rests on the archive. Every piece of land, every slave, every sack of grain is accounted for and taxed. The tax official is scarier than the legionary. The legionary kills you once. The bureaucrat will ruin your family with taxes for 3 generations. This is a system with foolproof protection. Even if the emperor is insane, taxes are still collected in the provinces. In the Khan's headquarters, there are no archives. There is the Yasa of Genghis Khan. Not a thick code of laws, but a set of concepts. Do not lie, do not betray. The punishment for everything is the same, a broken spine. Here, a beastly meritocracy reigns. Subutai, the greatest general, was the son of a blacksmith. Jebe shot Genghis Khan and then became his best general. Only results are valued here. The Mongols did not enforce their culture. They didn't care which god you believed in, as long as you paid tribute. Rome built a state machine. The Mongols built a state family, where all power rested on the authority of one Khan.
The Roman network consists of 80,000 kilometers of stone roads, reliable but slow. Data transfer speed, 70 to 80 kilometers a day. The Mongols had no roads. They had the Yam, the first express mail system in history. Every 30 to 40 kilometers, there was a post with fresh horses. A messenger flies into the station, jumps onto a new horse, and flies on. To avoid falling asleep in the saddle, he wraps his body in tight bandages, and he wears bells on his belt so the station can hear him coming from afar. Mongol Wi-Fi speed? 300 to 400 kilometers a day. The Khan in Karakorum learned news from Europe 4 times faster than the Roman emperor learned news from Gaul. Information superiority was absolute. The Roman economy is production. They grew grain, pressed oil, mined silver. They created added value. Rome grew rich because it built and taxed every stage. This is the economy of a factory owner. The Mongols produced nothing but war, but they created the Pax Mongolica by taking control of the Silk Road. Previously, a merchant paid tribute to every local prince and hired guards against bandits. The Mongols said, "You pay us once and you walk in peace." It was a global protection racket. For the first time in history, a defenseless girl with a sack of gold could walk from China to the Black Sea, and no one touched her. The Mongols did not create things, they controlled the flow. This is the economy of a toll road owner.
Roman terror is surgery, cold and calculated. The revolt of Spartacus, 6,000 men crucified along the road, kilometers of executed men so that every slave could see the price of disobedience, or decimation. If a legion faltered, every 10th man was executed by his own comrades. The fear of one's own side had to be stronger than the fear of the enemy. Rome killed to restore order. Mongol terror is a tsunami. There were few of them, and holding millions in check was possible only through primal horror. They wiped cities off the face of the earth. When Baghdad refused to surrender, the Mongols destroyed up to 800,000 people. The Tigris River changed color from ink and blood. In the city of Nishapur, Genghis Khan's daughter ordered the destruction of everyone, even cats and dogs, and then stacked 3 pyramids from the severed heads of the fallen inhabitants. It was a strategy: surrender or everyone dies. The Mongol killed to break the will.
How did they hold on to what they conquered? Rome digested nations. The Mongols dissolved into them. A Roman gave a barbarian a road, a bathhouse, and citizenship. 2 generations later, the barbarian's grandson, speaking broken Latin, considered himself a Roman. The Mongol took the local faith, local wives, and local laws. 2 generations later, the conqueror's grandson became a Persian or a Chinese, forgetting the language of his ancestors. The assimilated strangers. Mongol blood dissolved into them.
Rome did not die on the battlefield. It died in bed, suffocating under its own weight like a senile old man. It was killed by inflation when money lost its value, by bureaucracy when there were more officials than taxpayers, and by civil wars when legions marched on the capital to put their general on the throne. Rome died a painfully long death, over centuries, losing province after province. The Mongol Empire did not grow senile. It shattered into pieces at full speed, like a race car hitting a wall. The empire was created for war. As long as there was loot, the mechanism worked. But as soon as expansion stopped, cannibalism began. Genghis Khan's sons and grandsons did not want to rule together. The Golden Horde fought against the Ilkhanate. Kublai built his empire in China. They started a war with each other. Rome died of old age. The Mongols died because they forgot how to be one pack.
So, who won? In the ring of the year 1240, Rome would have been destroyed. The Mongol war machine was 1,000 years more advanced. No chance. But look around. We live in buildings based on Roman principles. Concrete, arches. We write with letters from Rome. Our laws, senates, courts, this is Rome. It left a civilizational code. And what did the Mongols leave? State borders, a genetic footprint, the words money and customs. The Mongols were a hurricane that swept away the old world, mixed nations and technologies. But a hurricane does not build houses. It tests their strength. Rome is the foundation. The Mongols are the storm. I have a question for you, and now a vote in the pinned comment. Team Rome, hit the like button on this video if you believe order and law are more important. Team Horde, leave a comment if you believe strength lies in movement and disruption. Who wins today? The choice is yours.